Okay, this is my little review on this tent. This is the Wenzel Klondike 16 by 11 tent. There's a couple video reviews I've seen, but I figured one more wouldn't hurt. This is the exterior of the tent. I do not have the rain fly on it yet. I'll put that on afterwards and make another video of it. The biggest thing with it, I was actually surprised it wasn't bigger. Mostly because of all the reviews that I read, especially one that was saying, be aware of how large this tent is, will not fit on a standard campsite. I don't know where you guys are camping, but this would have no problem on any site here that I've ever been to. I live in Michigan, so there's, plenty of camping. Maybe we got bigger sites, I don't know, but I do like the tent. It is large, but I was actually scared at first reading the reviews of how large people were saying it was, and it's not that big. Compared to my Walmart tent that I had previously, I believe it was a 4-person. The main room here is about the exact same size. So the only difference is the addition of the screened-in porch with a floor. So I like it. It's not small by any means, but everybody was really making it sound gigantic in their reviews, and I personally don't think it's that big. So I don't know, maybe if you're limited on space, maybe it's a little too big, but like I said, I've never been to a site here where this thing wouldn't fit. One of the things that I do not like about it, somebody has already mentioned, and it seems to happen on every tent that I've seen in this model anyway, all the wrinkles right here. Another reviewer called them like swags, whatever you want to call them. I don't know, I kind of think, in my opinion, it's a defect in the way that they produce the tent. It doesn't do it on the other side. If this was pulled in a little bit better direction, tighter or whatever, it wouldn't do it. This is my first time setting it up. I did it in our backyard. Maybe that'll go away with time. It's not a big deal. It just, the look of it, it kind of looks like I didn't know what I was doing when I set it up. And, I set it up fine, just like the other people have had the same issue. So, that's my biggest issue. I don't like that. That looks, kind of crappy. Lots of mesh, or no CM netting, as a lot of people call it. So that'll be nice. Nobody's mentioned it before. These are, I assume, steel, aluminum. They're steel poles or whatever. But the ones up here are fiberglass. They're like your typical tent poles that you would have on a dome tent. So you have two that crisscross to form your top here, and those are fiberglass with the nylon rope inside of it. And they go down into a coupler or joint, whatever you want to call it, down to the steel rod. It seems to be pretty sturdy. Somebody's mentioned that their proprietary design here takes away from the square footage on the inside, which it does. I can only assume, they did it so you get more stakes. It should be tethered to the ground a lot better. So I'm not against that. A rear vent, only time will tell if it's going to help. I'm not sure if it's going to bring in a breeze or not. If not, it'd probably be nice to have a fan to suck cool air in. There is no back window. Not a huge deal. There's plenty of windows on the sides, the top mesh. So yeah, the one thing that was mentioned before, it's not a super tight tent. You can move it a little bit. Again, I don't mind that. Doesn't bug me. I just do typical summer camping here in Michigan, and I don't plan on running into any extreme weather. So here's the front entry. You do have to duck to get in here. You can stand in the main part, but not here. The zippers actually do feel pretty nice. They unzip really well. When I first set this up, there was actually two of the zippers. I don't know how to explain it. It was like zipped partly here, but the zipper was down here still. And they call them self-repairing zippers. And as soon as I moved it, it popped right through and worked fine. It didn't screw the zipper up or anything. So the zippers do seem to be pretty good. Okay, inside here, close the zipper. Another thing, again, it's a positive review. I do like the tent, but covering the negatives here. The windows, when you unzip them, typically in a tent you would roll them up and there would be little ties that would hold them. It's not the case in this tent. You're just supposed to roll them up and kind of tuck them inside. So, it's not a big problem, but it doesn't look as nice. This one I actually tucked in and it came out, so I'll mess with that later. You turn around, you do have this round entry. Doesn't bother me any. It's fine. Watch your foot when you go over it. You know, don't be a klutz, trip over it or nothing. It's not bad. The door, this was not mentioned before. The door, yes, it does store right here in this pocket, but it's actually always attached. You can't even take the door off. Not that I care, I'm just pointing that out. That's it. It does not actually unzip and come off. It unzips and tucks into this pocket. So, put that back in there. You can see here, because of their design, you can see how the corners are. Again, yeah, it takes away from the square footage somewhat, but I don't care. I'm sure it's going to make it sturdier. There is a decent amount of room, but it's really not bigger than my old tent as far as the sleeping area right here. So, I'm not sure why so many people are saying it's so huge, unless they're used to sleeping in two-person dome tents, but other than the screen porch, this is typical size for a family tent. It does have a little hook up here. Feels pretty strong. I would assume, you know, for hanging a light. That might come in handy. I will make another video when I take this out to the campground. I will be camping in East Tawas. Right out at Tawas Point. A peninsula that goes out in Lake Huron. They got a really nice campground. That'll be the first place that I take this. So I will make another video then. We'll see if any of this stuff disappears, but I doubt it will. Again, here, maybe I can show you. You know, if they just designed it somehow that this side pulled tighter, you know, it looks fine. But, and I set it up right, just like the other, I don't know the guy's name. There's another guy that did a nice review on the tent. Same thing, I got the same problem. Yeah, not a huge deal. And this window looks fine. So, there's one pocket there for your goodies. There's another pocket there for your goodies, plus the pocket for the door. That's probably fine. This area here, I said you can't stand in it. I can stand in it as long as I'm right here, right before you enter. And I'm 5'7" or 5'8". Be a nice place to store your cooler. Maybe a couple of chairs. So, anyway, I think this video is a little longer than I anticipated it to be. I just wanted to give a nice overview of the tent here. Oh, the other thing is, I can't remember what they're called. Some people call them like bathtub style walls or something, where the floor comes up, you know, to help prevent moisture from coming in. I actually don't think they're very high. My previous tent, especially here in the corners, I mean, I don't know. I might have to put some seam sealer on it. We'll see how that pans out. Because I know in my previous tent, you know, the flooring came up, you know, I mean, way up here to help keep out that moisture. So that scares me a little bit, but we'll see. I do plan on buying a big tarp and putting this down on that beforehand. But that's about it. I think maybe I'll try to put the rain fly on. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. This was my first time setting this tent up today. I don't think I mentioned it. I set it up in my backyard. I set it up alone. So people who say you can't do it alone, you can. I did it. It is better with two people. It's easier with two people. But I did it under not very optimal conditions. It was like 93 degrees today. I did it around noon, so I was out here cooking. But I got it up. I would say it took me maybe half an hour. And like I said, that was my first time doing it. That was in this insanely hot sun. You basically unroll it, get it facing how you want. You stake it down, and then you start building up. You start with the dome first, and then you add your metal support poles. See, another thing, and now this may not be level right here, okay? But still, that is a problem regardless. But this side does look a little bit lower now that I'm looking at it. But still, like I said, this is a known issue that a lot of people have kind of complained about. But, like I said, it's not all negatives. I do like the tent. I'm sure I will enjoy it. I was just pointing out the things that others have already commented on, and I'm just letting everybody know I've got some of the same things. I'll make another video with the rain fly on, and I'll also probably make another one when I go camping and let everybody know how it did. So, sorry this video was kind of a lot longer than I expected it to be. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry. I just wanted to give a fairly in-depth view of this tent. So, yeah, like I said, I'll see if I can get that rain fly on alone.